This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and my 2 cents. Marvel Studios should never, ever make an R-rated movie. Unless. The reason I'm making this video is because I've read quite a bit online about how Marvel Studios should make an R-rated movie and how it'll be hugely successful. But there's one problem with that bit of logic. R-rated superhero movies tend not to be successful. And I know what you'll say. What about Deadpool? And you'd be right. The first Deadpool, which had a budget of $58 million, according to Box Office Mojo, earned somewhere in the ballpark of $783 million. That's a hugely insane return on investment. And Deadpool was R-rated, so it's entirely logical that people would jump to the conclusion that R-rated superhero movies are successful. But one instance of something is only proof of that particular instance being successful, and not necessarily a trend unless it can be proven to happen consistently. So, the reason Deadpool was successful was because it was, in its own way, innovative and different from what people were accustomed to seeing in terms of superhero movies, and came out at just the right time that it caught the public eye. It does not mean that R-rated superhero movies will in general be successful. And to prove that, let's look at the box office for Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2 earned slightly more than the original movie. But look at this. Deadpool 2's budget is virtually double that of Deadpool, $110 million versus $58 million, excluding in both cases advertising and promotional costs. Now keep in mind, Deadpool 2 is a success, no doubt about it. By any metric you employ, it's a successful movie, but also what Deadpool is slightly less profitable than the first movie. What does that mean? It means that this is not a tenable formula. Let's say Disney did not purchase the theatrical assets of 20th Century Fox. It's highly likely they'd keep cranking out Deadpool movies, and if their production costs continue to go up, profits would likely not keep pace. In other words, this movie is on a downward trend. Slight to be sure, but downward nonetheless, because when all is said and done, Deadpool 2 will likely not be as profitable as the first movie. Which has everything to do with the production budget, and here's the unless. So, if you're going to create an R-rated superhero movie, you have to keep your production budget in line, and the first movie is a perfect template to illustrate that. If you're going to create an R-rated superhero movie, the production cost shouldn't exceed $50 to $60 million, tops, at maximum. That's because otherwise you're just courting disaster. And people are quick to forget 2012's Dread, which was also R-rated and, with a production budget of $50 million, cheaper than the first Deadpool. Yet it went on to underwhelm at the box office, earning almost $36 million. Which is to say, Dread, a great movie. If you haven't seen it, catch it. It's really, really good. It's also a flop. R-rated superhero movies are by default riskier than typical non-R-rated movies because younger viewers must be accompanied by a parent or guardian, which is going to limit the amount of younger ticket buyers. While PG-13 means no one under the age of 13 can see the movie without a parent or guardian, which is why R-rated movies are by their nature riskier propositions than PG or PG-13 movies. And sure, there are things you can do, such as instances of sexuality, certain curses, adult situations, in an R-rated movie that you cannot do in a PG or PG-13 movie. But it's worth asking if that's worth potentially the loss of millions of dollars in box office revenue. Which is why Marvel Studios should never, ever make an R-rated superhero movie. Marvel Studios' Avengers Infinity War earned just over $2 billion worldwide. According to Forbes, it cost $321.2 billion to produce. Avengers Infinity War was rated PG-13. Would it have been profitable if it were rated R? Perhaps, but it's hard to argue that it would not have been as profitable. You have to think back to what I like to think was one of the most profitable R-rated superhero movies, which was Blade. Blade doesn't typically get the credit for the trailblazer that it is. It was not only the first superhero movie with an African-American lead, but it also showed the way to make a profitable R-rated superhero movie. According to Wikipedia, Blade cost $45 million to produce and earned just over $131 million at the worldwide box office. Let's look at its sequel, Blade 2. According to Box Office Mojo, it cost $54 million to produce, making it slightly more expensive than the first movie. and earned $155 million worldwide, making the sequel more profitable than the first film. The point being, R-rated superhero movies tend to do better when their budgets are relatively low. As I said, I don't think Marvel Studios should do an R-rated movie. Though if they were, they would have to do them in such a way to differentiate themselves from their usual fare, other than it being R. And a way to do this is to create a separate division, let's call it Marvel Knights, which was actually used in Ghost Rider's Spirit of Vengeance, that handles particular characters in an R-rated setting. It could be grittier, more sexualized interpretations of Marvel characters, but, and here's the important part, with budgets no higher than $50 to $60 million. That could be a way Marvel Studios could introduce characters like Blade and Ghost Rider, characters that are more prone to graphic violence while not touching on the main continuity. This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and my 2 cents. Peace.